Welcome to One Brooklyn, presented by Brooklyn Borough President Eric L. Adams. On this edition of One Brooklyn, Brooklyn Borough President Adams visits PS 56 in Clinton Hill to unveil plans for a state-of-the-art greenhouse as part of his $7 million investment in his Growing Brooklyn Future initiative, which has brought cutting-edge technology and cultivating urban farming education to classrooms across the borough of Brooklyn. Borough President Adams was joined by the students of PS 56 who showed off their current third-floor classroom farm. But the school's new planned greenhouse will produce more than 25,000 pounds of produce annually. Borough President Adams believes that urban farming can revolutionize the borough's relationship with food and the environment, and it's important to have the children and young adults gain first-hand experience with the power of growing their own food. And PS 56 is a fine example.
This is going to make an incredible difference for our school, for our community. The thing that's going to happen here is that we're able to impact the community from the school, and there's no more better way to describe what a school should do, which is impact its community. The school itself, our kids are going to be able to grow food to feed themselves, their families, and neighboring elementary schools during lunch periods. The farm on the third floor was an ordinary public school science lab 2 years ago, and literally in a month's time our kids themselves helped build the system. And they themselves they're not reading about it and writing about it, they're doing it themselves. So they're walking around, they're pollinating, they're checking the pH levels, they're harvesting the plants. And so what better way to learn about all this than to actually do it themselves? It's not about reading about it, it's about actually doing it. So it's very exciting.
Yes, I do actually.
What's your favorite part?
Planting and eating them and having a good feeling that saying to myself, wow, this tastes so good, I made it myself.
In addition, Fiscal Year 18 funds from Brooklyn Borough Hall will also fund the creation of aquaponic and hydroponic classrooms, school greenhouses, and rooftop gardens at schools in Bedford-Stuyvesant, Bergen Beach, Brownsville, Gravesend, Mapleton, and Sheepshead Bay.
Good afternoon. I am Eric Adams, the Brooklyn Borough President, and I am joined with just a team of people who I can just say they just get it. They just get it. And I just want to thank my Councilwoman Laurie Cumbo, who is a partner on this initiative. And when you think about her beautiful baby who's saying thank you, Eric, in the background. This is how we grow Brooklyn Future in a very real way. And we are invested in this because these are our children, not only those who sit in the classroom, but those who occupy the bedrooms in our households. And what we do here in government is going to impact their lives in the future. So I want to thank our partners, Emily Paige, the principal of Urban Assembly Unison School, Eric Grande, the principal at PS 56, Catherine Soul, CEO and Director of Teens for Food Justice. That name says it all right there. Zahid, Mohammed, 8th grade student at Urban Assembly. And we really can't do these initiatives without the spirit and the energy of the Chancellor. And she is just really on target with that. You know, although she's not physically present with us today, in my conversations and walking through the schools and looking just how we're doing these innovative initiatives around food and connecting food to our children in a learning environment, it just has been a real win. So we want to thank the DOE, the Department of Education, Deputy Chancellor Elizabeth Rose for being here with us. We thank you so much. Please tell the Chancellor thank you for our initiative. And our Superintendent, Barbara Friedman. She has a shield around her neck, you know, so she said, let me.
I can only imagine.
You know, so, and all the students who are here, the most challenging thing for me was learning with my son that the food I fed him contribute to his allergies that he's experienced now as an adult. And when I hear these young people, the Deputy Chancellor and I were walking around with the young people as they explain and clearly understand the process on what we're doing and the excitement of what they are doing. But when you look at all of that, nothing is more important than what happens inside a learning environment. How do we apply it to our real life environment? And some of the young people who we spoke with, I was very clear on asking the question, prior to growing these vegetables, did you used to eat vegetables? And they said no. Wow. They said, they wouldn't eat them traditionally. They would rarely have a salad. But after growing in the process of it, now they regularly have vegetables into their lives. So anyone who don't quite understand what we're doing, it is the Karate Kid moment where the young man thought he was washing the car, but in reality he was learning karate. This is a Karate Kid moment. These young people are learning the experience of growing vegetables that they will eat, and it will nourish their body, bring down obesity rates, bring down asthma rates, bring down diabetes rates, bring down long-term healthcare issues. So we will have dollars to put in our education and not in the medical institutions that are responding to the problem. These children are creating an environment to correct the underlying problem. This is amazing what we are doing here in these schools. And so when you look at this beautiful space and some of the artists' drawings on what we're doing and point to, as I say over and over again, don't tell me where your priorities are, show me where your money goes.
That's right. And
that shows if you're serious about your investment. This investment will develop cutting-edge technology to cultivate urban farming education in our classrooms. This is real stuff and good stuff. To change the health outcomes that our young people are experiencing, we don't make the same mistakes of the past. We must unlearn what we learned. In order to learn, sometimes you have to unlearn what you learn. This starts with our youngest Brooklynites, our future leaders of this borough. Just before we arrived here, we visited an urban farm and greenhouse on the 3rd floor of the building, which houses both the Urban Assembly Unison School and P.S. Lewis Latimer. And with that, I want to put an asterisk because when you look at the number of people who have come together and made this happen, we realize that it's a collaboration of government, the central office of DOE, our schools, coming together as partnership and existing and coexisting in an environment, because it doesn't matter what's the name of the school, they're still all our children and they all have the same desires and aspirations. This beautiful space is allowing the students at these schools to connect with nature, understand the power of growing their own healthy food and investing in the next generation that will have healthy environments and clean up our environment. Aquaponics, hydroponics, a minimum amount of water being used, utilizing the waste from fish to fertilize the plants that are grown, maximizing gravity to utilize systems that won't have us use so much electricity. All those things are coming together to create this environment.
Wow, you
this
really
is
know this stuff. You're not reading from his notes.
This is worth every dollar of the $2 million that we are investing in state-of-the-art greenhouse at this site. A greenhouse right at this site, a beautiful indicator of how we believe that this is an important initiative. And this will be created through a partnership with Teens for Food Justice. There's just so much in their name. Our young people are deserving and the justice of allowing them to eat healthy food. It is an injustice when our children are eating foods that are not going to contribute to their ability to comprehend difficult and complex environments that they are a part of. There is no reason in affluent communities you have whole food and in other communities you have junk food. We're stopping that, and we're going to make sure they have the same whole foods and all throughout the borough. And so some of the remaining funds will include $2 million to Brownsville Collaborative Middle School in Brownsville, $1.5 million to PS 40 George W. Carver and Gotham Professional Arts Academy in Bedford-Stuyvesant, $1 million to PS 312, the Bergen Beach School in Bergen Beach, $200,000 to Life Academy High School for Film and Music in Gravesend, $200,000 to PS 121 Nelson A. Rockefeller in Mapleton, $167,000 to Origins High School in Sheepshead Bay. Good stuff, great stuff. You know, when I look over the 4 years in office and the close to $96 million I put back into our school system to make sure. I made it clear from the beginning, my capital dollars will go back to educate our children so they will be prepared so we can raise healthy children and families. And, you know, as a vegan, I'm looking at that Swiss chard that you have in your hand and I'm dying to get a piece of it. Why don't you come and bring us a piece of that Swiss chard? You know? You know, just come on and showing this has been grown here, you know, been grown here. And the beauty of this is that this is the power of energy. It's all about just picking it, seasoning it, and eating it. So with that, I want to bring on my good friend, my partner in government, and just an amazing Councilwoman Laurie Cumbo.
Thank you.
Wow. I want to thank Borough President Eric Adams because his partnership is so critical to what we're experiencing today. And I also admire you greatly because you have taken your own initial diagnosis and didn't just utilize it as an opportunity to transform your eating habits or to unlearn what you learned. You've decided to make this a movement throughout the borough of Brooklyn and making sure that not just only you benefit from this, but that our entire borough benefits, particularly our young people. And so I'm so excited that you've taken your experiences to the borough of Brooklyn so that all of us can eat healthy and that all of us can benefit from what you've learned through your own experiences in dealing with diabetes and fighting it and beating it and coming out the champion for it. When I called Borough President Eric Adams, it was because a very good longtime friend, Arlette Williams, invited me to the school. She's so fantastic. She's with my baby. I'm so blessed because everywhere I go, Prince has godparents wherever he goes. And I knew that when I came here, I was like, Arlette will watch him, it'll be fine. But I went on a tour with Zahid and another young lady named Jessica. And I'll be so honest, and you can quote me and report on me about it later. I had never heard of a hydroponic farm. So when he started using the vocabulary and he and Jessica went into this like food vocabulary that I had never heard of, I was impressed. And they kept going deeper and deeper and deeper. And I just said like, if my child can come out speaking like this is working. And I was so impressed with both of you. You answered questions, you laid it out, what it took, what it needed, and how much money it was gonna cost, and you said without blinking, we're gonna need $1 million from you. And I was floored at that moment. And so I called Borough President Eric Adams and I said, you know, went on a tour today with two young people, Zahid and Jessica. They're 6th, 7th, 8th graders, and they gave me this tour, and they want to do this hydroponic farm or hydraulic or hyphenated something kind of farm. And what do you think? He's like, I love it. How much do we have to put up? I didn't even have to convince him. I thought I was gonna have to sell him a little bit more, but he was on board totally from the very beginning. And so much of that is from his own experiences, but both of you were dynamic spokespersons for your cause. You spoke about it with such passion, and the passion that you feel for it is what has brought all of us here today. So I just want to thank both of you, and I want to thank all of the students here, because this is for you. And this is you educating us as adults. If you can believe it, you're educating us on how to eat healthy. Just like Borough President Eric Adams took a bite of, what is this now? Right. I would need a little dressing and some salt and all that to do, you know, but I'm changing my eating habits as well. So this is so very important. As a new mom, as a mom that's breastfeeding, I am so much more charged to eating healthy and to eating the right foods, because if you don't eat the right foods, you can't produce the food that you need for your child. So it starts like really from infancy in terms of, you know, how we're feeding our children from the womb all the way to adulthood. So I just wanted to, you know, just express some of the sentiments here today. Protocol has been established. You all have done an awesome job. But part of the mandate of what I wanted to see is I want every child in the 35th District and the Borough of Brooklyn to have a STEM or STEAM education, because science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics are so important and critical to their development. I was happy to be able to allocate over $1 million to this particular initiative, and I was happy to bring it to the graduation ceremony. I was a hit, like I had never been before. Now I know how to be a hit at the graduation, how to get a standing ovation. But from what I understand, the expansion of this hydroponic greenhouse will help close the food gap in this community by providing an estimated, listen to this, an estimated 25,000 pounds of fresh produce while nurturing the next generation of leaders, food justice advocates, and innovators in the green workforce with a 21st century skill set. I wanted to thank everybody that came together to make this possible, because there are so many people that are living in what we know as food deserts. Individuals that just don't have access to healthy food, but also, as the Borough President so eloquently spoke about, so many people that may even have access don't have the experience with the food, have not had access to understand how to prepare the food, and that's what's going to change in this community. So to my future leaders, you are going to educate a healthier next generation. You are going to make sure that your generation, those coming behind you and those ahead of you, are eating so much better, so that we don't have to wind up in emergency rooms, we don't have to wind up taking so many expensive medications, that we can be a much better society and a healthier society. And I just want to close by thanking Principal Emily Paige, her faculty and staff for cultivating a learning environment where everyone will have a seat at the table. I thank all of you for today. This is meaningful. As a city council member, this is part of the legacy that I want to lead. This is why I ran for office, because I want my life to improve the lives of others. So thank you all so much. God bless you all, and I can't wait to come back to eat. Thank you. Where's Jessica? Jessica, come on up, girl.
Hi, Jessica.
Jessica, I know that you are a very studious young lady and you were in your classes and you didn't want to leave, but I just publicly wanted to thank both of you. Zahid and you sold me as soon as I came in. You all were just tag teaming me on both ends. I felt like I couldn't leave without making a commitment. And we as elected officials don't make commitments just like that. You know, you got to go back and talk to people. But by the time I left and they walked me to the door, I had my commitment and made it, and I just had to figure out a way to make it happen. So thank you. You are a dynamic woman, you are a dynamic young man, and you all continue to promote food justice all across this city. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Don't forget to show your check. Don't forget to show your check.
Well, I wanted to show my check when you showed your check.
You know, you know, we can't, and you know, I was looking at my notes, we just really cannot say enough about the partnership with UFT and just what we do with UFT. We do so much and so many initiatives. That's another group. They come into my office and they say, Eric, we have a project about wraparound services. Just tell me how much you need me to write the check for, because I know you're going to do it right. Taxpayers' dollars are going to be used right. So again, let's give it up for the UFT as well. And it's so important, something Laurie said I want to respond to about mother's milk, which is the healthy milk that a child should have. All the reports show that it increases their literacy ability, it helps build the immune system. It is just the best milk. But the milk that goes to your baby is based on the foods you eat. So if you're eating the wrong food, you are giving your baby the wrong milk for them to consume. And so by having that conversion to a healthy diet while you're breastfeeding, and then it will evolve you continuing that, you're giving your baby just a healthy start. That's why we have a lactation room at Borough Hall where mothers can come and breastfeed their children. And we passed legislation that every government building in the city has a lactation room. It is time for men to get out of the way and dismantle these insidious rules that have been in place, and motherhood is an embarrassment, when in fact motherhood is what got us all here in the first time. I'm part of the Men Who Get It caucus, you know. And so the next, we want to bring up this amazing, amazing principal, Emily Paige, principal at Urban Assembly Unison School.
I have to bring up Amy Pillar. So this is Amy. Amy actually got Teens for Food Justice at Unison. So really, Amy is the magic. I think I speak, my $1 million check is blowing away. I think I speak for both of us when I say that this contribution overwhelmed us both. So when we heard the news that we were getting this, I was on the beach this summer and cried on the beach. It takes a village to raise a child. And schools, our community, we have forgotten that learning is about the community. And that our kids will only learn when we bring the community into the school and when we make the learning relevant to their lives. This farm, this greenhouse, is no better way. There's no better way to do that. Our kids are growing food that they themselves are eating. They can bring the food home. They can teach their parents the recipes they're learning here.
All right.
They can bring food to our neighboring elementary schools. And our middle school students get to be leaders with the elementary school students at PS 56, which is also so important. You know, we all hear about these co-located schools and the challenges. PS 56 in the Urban Assembly Unison School is one school for all of our children. And this greenhouse is gonna give us an opportunity to partner our kids up together in ways that I don't think is happening anywhere across this city. So I am very proud to be the principal of this school when this greenhouse gets built, but I have to say, none of it would have happened if it weren't for this lovely, lovely lady, Amy Pillar.
I can just say thank you so much. I can't even believe that this is real. And I will say back, I couldn't have done it without Emily's support. You know, I think that I am just so inspired every time I walk into that room and I see all of you in there and your faces light up and the way that you explain what you're doing and the way that you welcome people into our community. It's a beautiful thing to watch, and it's unreal to me that in the next short period of time we're going to have a greenhouse right here and we're going to be able to produce this food that we're going to have for lunch, and it's going to be something that's not happening anywhere nationally. Unison is going to be this place where you guys are the trailblazers that we know you are to lead us into the next chapter, and I'm so excited and so thankful. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you. I didn't realize you had a cucumber, and this cucumber is less than $50, so I can have this as a gift without violating any rules. You know that? Isn't it? I can have it with my salad today. You know, and so that's a perfect segue into Eric Grande, principal at PS 56. Eric?
That's right. I didn't forget. And not only the dance studio, but also the after-school program. We're having Little Orchestra Society, so thank you to Laurie Cumbo for that. We got a lot of work happening here. But I'll second what Ms. Paige was talking about in terms of when you're within a school building that's co-located. Sometimes we hear challenges associated with that, but I think we're a testament to what you can do when you're working together, collaborating, communicating together, and working together for a common goal, which is all about these kids here. So it's been an amazing experience. I've been learning a lot regarding this work too. So it's I'm going to be a student as well with you guys. So I want to thank you, and thank you to the entire team here working together to make this happen. So thank you very much.
Thank you. And I'm loving his energy in this place, you know. And Catherine Sells, CEO and Director of Teams for Food Justice. We have to do a lot more with you.
Well, I just have to say thank you. Thank you to everyone here, and the support that we've received from our elected officials in Brooklyn is really mind-boggling. So we came here to Unison just 4 years ago, and to imagine this possible in such a short period of time is really overwhelming. But it's really what Emily said. It takes a village, and this collaboration with this school has been nothing short of amazing. They have supported this program. They have supported their students' involvement in this program. They have completely integrated themselves into all of the values of the program to promote health and leadership and STEM excellence in our kids. And you can see from these kids here how involved they are, and what our council member just said before about their ability to describe the program and the engineering behind the systems. But not only that, but really the issues around social justice and resource inequality and the food that's available from community to community, and how that has to change so that everyone has affordable, equal access to healthy food. That is a universal value that we all have to embrace regardless of our politics, regardless of where we come from. That is just the fundamental thing that we have to change, and these kids are going to lead us there. So thank you so much for helping to make that possible.
Well said. And now the star of the show. Zahid Mohammed, 8th grade student at Urban Assembly. Zahid?
I would like to say that it's been very helpful coming to the school. I didn't really think I was going to be here. Also joining this program, it's taught a lot about the program and myself. To be honest, I used to hate tomatoes, just going to bring it up. Now tomatoes are one of my favorite vegetables, and now I can I can say with pride, thanks to the Teach for Food Justice program.
Thank you. And News 12, New York 1, if you don't take anything away from this conversation, that was the one. I used to hate tomatoes, now I eat them. There was a disconnect between good food in our children and what they consume. When you're competing with a clown with big red shoes on and 2 off beef patties against real food, it's a hard competition until the children start growing the food, and that's the great equalizer. Hearing these children state, I now eat salad, I now eat tomatoes, we are just getting it. And I don't know if people really pick up what we are about to achieve in this city. And I gotta give my kudos to the chancellors, UFT, these schools. We are going into food deserts. And we're saying we're using taxpayers' dollars to create the new technology of growing food that will go and feed the communities that are the food desert. So not only are we recycling the water, not only are we recycling the fish poop, not only are we recycling the soil, we are recycling our resources to solve the problem using the learning environment of a school to do so. So these children are no longer feeling powerless, but they are empowered. They are now going to contribute to dropping diabetes, not only to the children, but the parents who they give the fresh vegetables to. They're going to be dealing with obesity, arthritis, heart disease. They are now going to be part of the solution. This is just amazing. Love it, love it. Thank you.
Okay, we're good.
Great, thank you. It's a real win.
Good job.
Thank you.
My children have food allergies.
Good job.
Interesting.
It's fascinating.
I got a great book I would love for you to get by Dr. Grande.